How's it going, everyone? It's Milwaukee coming back at you once again, and today we're going to be discussing Star Wars The High Republic Adventures, Issue 2, written by Daniel Jose Older, with art by Harvey Tolibao and Paul Rodrigues. Let's get into it. As the battle rages on Trimant 4, decisions are made, allies are gained, and allegiances are forged. From here on out, I'm going to be delving into spoilers for the issue. If you just want to score, jump ahead to the end. So, the battle's raging on Trimant 4. Crix is aligned with the Nihil, and, Markion Ro is going to take him on board with the orphanage leader, because the orphanage leader says, no, that's my apprentice, I need him. And meanwhile, Yoda, sneaks onto Markion Ro's ship, and Markion Ro's freaking out. He's like, you'll find that Jedi. So Crix volunteers to go find Yoda. And Yoda, of course, finds Crix. And he's like, hey, I'm going to give you a transponder. You'll call us when you need us or whatever. And Crix is like, no, you're the Jedi. You're bad. He sounds the alarm. So Yoda has to escape without, fulfilling his mission. And he ends up leaving, powerful artifacts behind. It doesn't take out Markion Ro. And in the end, the Nihil, they escape. But, so Crix goes with the Nihil, and Zine goes with the Jedi. And that's how it ends. Whatever. Buckets of Blood. I mentioned in my Star Wars Light of the Jedi video review that when I decided to read, the High Republic, I wanted to really delve into the era, right? And that includes the High Republic online show that was, streamed on Star Wars YouTube channel, right? And on that show, they were bringing the authors and they would talk about upcoming works and stuff they're working on in the High Republic Initiative, right? And one of those authors was this author named Daniel Jose Older, who just happens to be writing, this comic book, right? And he talks about this character, Jedi Master Tobin Buck, also known as Buckets of Blood. And he gives a backstory on why he called the character Buckets of Blood. And the backstory is that, when Daniel was working as a paramedic, there used to be another paramedic on call who would, take on calls as Buckets of Blood, and who would say, Buckets of Blood is on the job, or I'm taking that one, Buckets of Blood is on the scene, or whatever. And I guess he was real tickled by that, because he decided to include that here in the Star Wars High Republic. Now, it's bad enough that we oftentimes have to deal with authors doing self-inserts of themselves into the works, but now we got people including their friends in the books, Buckets of Blood. It's been cringe ever since I saw it on the Star Wars High Republic show. I'm encountering it here for the first time. Buckets of Blood is on the scene. He's in the action. And it's total cringe. It's just terrible, right? And what makes it more is that, Jedi Master Tobin Buck, a.k.a. Buckets of Blood, is a total pansy, right? He's a healer. He's not a fighter. He's getting his ass whooped in this issue by a bunch of Nihil. And he has to get rescued by the Jedi Padawans. Because remember, this series is a series where, Jedi Padawans, children are the stars of the book, and they go and they bail his ass out of this fight, and it's just, what were they thinking? It's supposed to be funny, but it's not. And, what else can I say? It's just a real, low point for Star Wars The High Republic thus far. Buckets of Blood, everyone. Your favorite character. There's a panel in this book where Jedi Master Yoda, right, the greatest Jedi of all time, right, and Markion Ro, the leader of the Nihil, they're in the same panel, feet away from each other. And Yoda does nothing to defeat Markion Ro. He could have easily reached out with the Force, plucked him up, killed him, detained him, whatever. Because remember, Markion Ro, not a Force user. He could have trapped Markion Ro in the shuttle, ended the story right here. But no, he didn't. He let Markion Ro live, and thus the story continues. But that's not even the worst part, right? Because Yoda infiltrates Markion Ro's ship, and he finds the purple stick of power that was mentioned way back in Light of the Jedi. And he just leaves it there on the ship for Markion Ro to use later on down the line. Complete buffoonery. What was Daniel Jose Older thinking with this issue? Not only do we get Buckets of Blood, but we get Yoda leaving his brain on Coruscant or whatever, doesn't defeat the ultimate villain, leaves the villain his power weapon. It's complete clown shoes. But hey, at least we get the whole point of this issue. The Jedi, they get their orphan, the Nihil, they get their orphan named Crix, and they go their separate ways. And this whole story is really about seeing, how the Jedi and the Nihil are from, these new children's eyes that are being, included into the forces. Whatever. Also, on this issue, I want to touch on a bit of fake drama. The Nihil, right? The only thing they got going for them is their path engines that they have on all of their ships, right? Well, as they're escaping Trimant 4 here, they have to battle their way out through the Republic forces that show up to, help aid the planet, right? Otherwise, they're going to be trapped and captured. But in every other story, right, they would just jump right off the planet, right? Whether they're in the atmosphere or not, they're the Nihil. They have the powerful of the path, right? They could just do whatever. They could hyperspace skip. They could holdo maneuver. They could do whatever they want when it comes to hyperspace. Except this time, we got to have the fake drama of a battle, right? What even are the rules? So with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and give Star Wars The High Republic Adventures Issue 2 a 2 out of 5. The whole series could have ended right here. But no. Got to keep going. Villains meeting heroes. Not doing nothing about it. Story must roll on. Until next time, I'll see you there.